So we're just simply going to type in Vue UI in the command line, and you don't have to be in your project folder to do this, or the folder you want to create your project. So what it's going to do is it's going to open a tab in your default browser, just like it did right there. And I'll walk you through the options. So as I said, you don't have to be in the folder you want to create the project in. So if I go to create, I can choose where I want to create this project. So I'm going to go okay, and then in here I'm going to create a new project here. So I'm going to name it Vue-YouTube. You can name yours whatever you want, just mind the naming conventions. And then package manager, npm. And then we are going to initialize a Git repository. And that is toggled by default. So we're going to go to next. It's going to bring us to presets. And then I have presets that I've configured in here, but if you want to do it, so by default, it gives you the Babel and ESLint preset plugins. So if you go to manual, which you should see that option, I'll show you what it gives you here. So you have many options for manually configuring your plugins. So Babel and ESLint are the ones that it comes with automatically, so they already come turned on. I would recommend keeping those, and we will affect some settings for ESLint here in a minute. So there's an option for TypeScript. There's an option for progressive web app, which we're going to choose, and I'll make a video on its own about the settings for that and what that means. Router is also going to be checked for us. That's how we're going to go through route to the different pages of our single page application. We're not going to use Vuex at the moment, and that's the thing with VueJS CLI 3 is you can go back and add plugins after the fact. So you could already be well into your project, go back into this user interface or the command line and add or remove plugins. CSS preprocessors, so we're going to be using Sass, and that's what you turn on to be able to use Sass, Less, SCSS, which is part of Sass obviously, Stylus, all those things fall under this CSS preprocessors. And what that's going to do is it's going to go ahead and install those node modules you need to preprocess those things. And we're not going to do any of the other options here. So we're going to hit next, and then we're going into our configuration settings now. So on ESLint, we want to lint on save, and then I'm going to lint and fix on commit. So that's git commit. And then here is where you actually pick the preprocessor you want to use for CSS. So we're going to pick SCSS and Sass. And then I'm going to choose ESLint with prettier for the linter. All right, now we're going to create project. And then it gives you the option here to save those presets that we just did. So the plugins we chose, the presets for the linter and CSS preprocessor, you can give that a name and save it so you can easily use the same settings. So we're going to continue without saving, and now it's going to install those plugins into our VueJS CLI 3 web application that it's creating for us right now. Okay, so we have successfully created our Vue web application. and this is where it brings you after the project's created. So at any point you can come in here and come to your command line and hit Vue UI, and it's going to bring this up in your browser. And you'll be able to look at your projects which you have open. It lists them there. You can bounce around to different projects, check the settings. Here you can always go in and change the configuration. So if you change your mind on how you wanted to do the ESLint, you can go in here and change some of that. You can also, like if we want to go in here and change the indentation to 2 spaces for our linter, we can go ahead and do that. Multiple settings in here you can do, so we'll save the changes. So now it's 2 spaces for enforcing indentation. So in here, gives you your base URL, your output directory. Don't change these things unless you know what you're doing. And then this is a module we'll talk about, a plugin we'll talk about in another video, and I'll go into what all these things mean and how to use them. So it lists your dependencies here in your application. See, because we chose the SAS preprocessor, it went ahead and added these. We chose Vue router, so that's added as well. And those are added in our package.json file as well. So you can also go in and easily add Vuex and add more applications by hitting add plugin and searching. So we'll do a video on Vuetify. I'll go in and install the Vuetify plugin and show you how to do that. There's lots of options though. Okay, so you have multiple options. So npm serve and npm build are going to be the main 2 that we use in this tutorial. So we can just go ahead and close. So we're going to Control C. Our UI is stopped. So we're going to open VS Code and open our project. Open folder. Okay. Here we go. So as I was talking about earlier, we're going to, in our integrated terminal, you can get to that in VS Code by View, Integrated Terminal, and then choose Terminal at the bottom. I'm using Git Bash, but the default option will probably be whatever is for your operating system if you don't have something like that already installed. You can also just open a terminal in this folder anywhere. And then from that folder, you're going to run npm run serve. And that's going to start your development server for this project. Okay, so it's running at localhost 8080. So if you just come in here, so I've already got it in there, but if you just type in localhost : 8080, enter, you should see your application. Okay, in later videos, I'm going to go into more stuff we can do from here, but I'm also going to go ahead and at this point and just take us right into a GitHub repo on the GitHub website, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you how to host this on Netlify.